throw the Monday show completely off of the bits that I need it to be on, and of course then it just literally just throws everything out, which is a bit of a nightmare. And then they upgraded Zoom not so long ago, and you can't send it to X anymore either, unless you've got a professional account on X.
Oh, okay. You used to be Harlow, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah. I'll talk to you more about that when we're not live, because we're live.
Dan's got to get his black and white PC going.
There he is.
Done?
Yep, we're there now. So we're live as well. So just so you know.
Excuse me.
Right, won't be a second. Just paste it out and then we're there to go. So with the Essex Cup though, Dan, do you play a full strength team for that, or do you play like people that need minutes?
I think I always try. I think it's a big competition, a competition I'd like to do well in. So I try and go as strong as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that reflects on how the weekend goes before and what happens in other games, to what you can do and what you can't do. I think we've got 8 games in 5 weeks or something like that, maybe. And if we can get a win Saturday, that obviously will increase that. Yeah, so I think it's something I'd like to always competition. I've had good success in before
Mm.
back in the Concord days, so it's something I would like to try and go full strength for. I think so. I'd like to win every game and tell the players that we must play in every game possible. And if we win that one, then that gives us another game to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, welcome to the Reposs Non-League show. We're a little bit late tonight, but we had a bit of a software issue, so apologies to the guys and of course everybody that's tuning in. But we are now with us, and of course joining us, of course, is Adam and of course Danny from Billericay. And guys, it's uh, would you honestly say that you're glad to be back in the game, Dan and Adam? A quick changeover for you from Chelmsford to Billericay, Dan?
Yeah, yeah, really pleased to be back. Yeah, I think my family was pleased to have me around for a little bit, but I think that's all wore off, and they were keen for me to get in a job, and we buy into it as a family as well. And they've been over to the games already, and they come watch and cheer us on, and my mum and my mother-in-law as well. So we all buy into it. So I think we're all missing it maybe a little bit, and obviously when the opportunity come about to manage a club like Billericay, it was something that we wanted to do really quickly and something that was agreed really quickly.
Mm. And Adam, I mean, stepping down from step two to step three, but is it something that you looked at and thought this is a real sort of big project for you?
Yeah, so I actually got offered a job there in the summer. But obviously with Chelsea going full time, I just felt I needed to give that a go. Obviously, everyone knows big change at Chelsea going full time, new owner, new manager. My role changed a bit. Um, it's probably safe to say I wasn't enjoying it as much as I have done. I've done the same job in football for 10 years, and that role changed a lot over the summer. And then obviously it come around ridiculously quick. We got a call saying me and Dan want to go into Billericay. We've actually been linked with that job 3 or 4 times before, and I just thought it was the right time. to go back in. Again, no secret, Dan's probably my best mate in football. I speak to him every day, even when he was at Aveley. Whatever club we've been at, we've been in constant contact every day. And it was just too good an opportunity to turn down. Billericay is still a massive football club. The infrastructure, the stadium, like everything's set for it to explode, hopefully. And with Dan going in there, it was a bit of a no-brainer, to be honest.
And what was it like to have your mate with you?
Yeah, yeah, really good. Obviously, we've both had good success when we first went into Concord Rangers and really enjoyed good success there and got to know each other as friends. Didn't know each other before that, but grew a good relationship and never really disagreed on a lot of stuff and sort of understood each other and how it works. So that worked really well. Obviously, we went our separate ways and both had good success. And Adam at Chelmsford done really well, played a big part in their success and finishing second in the National South, which is a massive achievement. And obviously myself going into Aveley and having some good success over the years as well. And it's always something, as Adam said, we always speak, we always communicate. And I probably tried to get Adam into Aveley a few times at step four, but he wasn't quite so keen at that moment. And was doing well at Chelmsford, as I said. But yeah, it was something that we always wanted to do and we'd always spoke about. And as Adam said, when the opportunity comes to manage Billericay and come back together with Adam and someone we work really closely with and a good part of the team that I've had before, it was a no-brainer.
I mean, if we can just go back a little bit, Dan. I mean, the Aveley situation. I mean, was that sort of did that success sort of surprise you, or was you expecting that success for the club? Because it just went crazy, didn't it? Promotion after promotion.
Yeah, it's not something that happens that often, is it? So I'll probably be lying if you say you expect it. I felt I could do well there. I felt I had enough experience to go in at step four, and I have to say I inherited a good group of players and a good group of lads that probably just needed a little bit of direction, and I felt that's what I was strong about. We didn't make wholesale changes in any of the seasons really, so it was gradual progress. Some people left, couldn't quite cope with the level or didn't want to play the level, and we added some new ones as we went. But I'd always back myself to try and be successful. I felt I've had a successful career previously at Concord and in my first stint as well. So felt I knew the levels, I knew the level up and the level below, and I felt with the group that we had in there, we could try and move forward. And I think once you get momentum and everybody's lined up and everybody's in the age which the football club was at that point, then I think you can have success. And ultimately, you need to win games of football, and we managed to do that. And to go in and win, I think it was 18 out of 20 games. So when I took over, is something that I'd probably be really proud of, and obviously give us that opportunity for a promotion and then a second promotion as well.
Mm. I mean, with it though, I mean, with the two, what was the first game you was there at Billericay? What was the first game that you took over, Dan, and Adam joined you?
Yeah, it was about a month ago now. I think it would be Cheshunt, I think it
Doesn't
was.
away yet.
Yeah, 9th of September. So yeah, nearly a month probably at the come weekend. And yeah, it all happened really quickly, like as football does. And Billericay board decided that they want to make a change. And as Adam said, it's something I'd been linked with before, and I'd actually applied for before and not able to get it. Was unsuccessful at that moment. So something that's quite local to me, and I felt would be a good opportunity if it come up. And the board announced that they were going to make a change, and it was, I was unemployed at the time in football and felt it was the right thing to do. So yeah, it all happened on the Monday. It spent a lot of time Monday night making a lot of calls to 20 players within the squad to try and calm their nerves a little bit and give them some reassurance that I'm coming in to try and support and help. And then we went straight into the game, and we just said to the group that it's never easy to change, is it? I don't think in terms of management size, and never easy to prepare for a game just getting a job the day before. But I think we said that we just had to focus on that game, and then we had an FA Cup game at the weekend, and we just had to focus on them two games and try and not look no further than that. And there'd be questions, and boys would want to have chats, but we said for the best for Billericay Football Club, is important that we just focus on what's ahead of us and then have them conversations, because we had a free week afterwards. So it was a bit of a whirlwind, but full credit to the squad. I think they adapted really quickly. We put a good performance in at Cheshunt and thought we probably deserved to win the game and showed good character coming back from a goal down and then 2-1 down with a late equaliser, and then obviously a good performance at the weekend as well to get through in the cup. So it was a good start, and then obviously things started putting into place and a lot more conversations, and there's still a lot of conversations to be had. And I always think when you go into a new building, you have to show them that you care about them first before you sort of show them what you know. It's no point me going in there and trying to change everything. So we tried to work with the group. We listened to the group about what maybe hadn't worked before, and what was working and what their thoughts were, and had some good conversations with the players. And I think that helped us in that first week because I felt they took a bit of ownership themselves because we've got a lot of experienced boys in there and recognised what we were about. And then ultimately we've tried to make some changes and trying to improve stuff as we go, like most teams would do and most clubs would do during the season.
And about how difficult is it when you go into a new club just to sort of like, sort of address the sort of maybe the slight maybe fears or apprehension of the players that are in there of, does the boss want me? Does Alan want me? That sort of feeling in there. How difficult is that to have that sort of conversation with, say 20 players that you've got there to sort of put their minds at rest?
Yeah, I mean, we were quite fortunate that either Dan or myself knew majority of the squad, so that was always helpful. I think it helps from Billericay's players' point of view because 99% of them are on contract, so it's not that simple to, if we wanted to make wholesale changes, it wasn't that simple anyway. So we've been really lucky. The group buy-in's been brilliant. That their attitude to every game's been spot on. We've been really lucky, to be honest. That they're a real good bunch of people, and they've given us everything. So it's been a really easy transition, to be honest. Obviously, we've moved a couple on. We brought in a couple of loans just because we felt the squad needed a little bit different in terms of balance. We're not the finished article by a long way because we've only been in there a month. But yeah, we'll see what happens over the next few weeks. Really, we'll get the FA Cup game out of the way Saturday, and then we'll start having some more conversations on where we're going to go. But to be honest, it's been pretty easy with the group.
I mean, as you said, you got that cup game at the weekend, and now all of a sudden you're 90 minutes away from possibly being, pulling a really big tie in the first round proper. Yeah,
again, I've been really lucky. I've done it with 4 different teams, but what's nice about this weekend, at least it's local derby, right? We couldn't have got a worse draw, could we? Spending more away. I think apart from Carlisle was the furthest away trip we could have got. But we look at it, we turned that into a positive straight away. Dan said it'd be great for team morale, right? We'll be together. We're going up on the Friday. We're staying over. All have been amazing since we walked through the door. So it'll be a good trip for us, and hopefully we, obviously they're league above, but we still feel like we can go there and get something. And who knows?
We had this conversation the other week with the guys from Merthyr as well, but you look at some of these draws and you think, so how on earth do you get put in? I'm assuming you got put in the north side of the draw. And you look at some of them, even today when the trophy draws come out, and you look at some of the teams that are in the north, and you think, hey, how are they? How's they in the north? I mean, it just seems crazy.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how we got Hednesford in the last round, but what they said to us was because Hednesford were the home team and we drew, they kept them. We basically carried that over in the north. I mean, why they couldn't just wait 24 hours, 48 hours till the games have been played on the Tuesday and then redone the draw? Because you still got a load of time to prepare. So yeah, it is frustrating, but yeah, it is what it is. We can't do anything about it. We just got to crack on, and we look at it on a positive. We're going on the Friday. We'll do everything right. The boys will be together again. We'll be with them. So we'll learn a lot more about them again. So we got to flip it on that and just take it as a positive.
And Bishop Stortford as well in the draw today for the trophy.
Yeah, they made a good start, haven't they? I think they made a good start. Lost a couple, but made a good start in the league and done quite well. They had lot of player turnover probably in the last few seasons with their obviously going into the northern section and then jumping into the league they're in now. So it's been tough for them maybe. We've got a few ex-Bishop Stortford players within our squad as well, so it'd be nice for them to play their old club as well. But yeah, expected Steve's a good manager. Done really well at Royston. We crossed paths with him at Concord Rangers in the FA Trophy before quarter final, I think it was. So we know he's a good manager and he gets his team up for games, and it'd be a real tough challenge. And we're fortunate we're at home. We want to make home, like most managers would say, a tough place to come, and with our home support, which is good and big in size and loud in volume. So it's important that we, as many home games as we can, and to get a team at home in the cup will be important for us to, and hopefully go and try and win that. And as I said before, and I say it to the players a lot, I always think you want to play every game you possibly can in a season, and if you end the season playing 55, 60 games of football, then that means you've had a really, really positive season for me. So I think any cup competition that we enter, we want to try and win, and it gives us another chance to play another game, and ultimately it puts pressure on your squad and your team and individuals. Obviously, with the cup run we've had at the moment, lost a couple of Saturday games, and things at Tuesday game have moved to midweek. So it adds to the squad, but also gives the squad plenty of game time, and lots of boys get opportunity because things can happen and changes have to make. So I think there's only positives out of cup runs, and like I say, FA Cup's a massive, really, one of the best competitions in the world, isn't it? And the FA Trophy we've had good success in, so something that we want to push on as well. And it's important for the football club that we give everything we've got, and ultimately going to spend more on Saturday is going to be tough, but I'd much rather go there probably and play them and as a bit of an unknown than maybe play somebody at home from the same division. So it's a new ground, a new facility. As Adam said, we get to travel, so we get to spend some time with a group, which is vital at this moment, and get to know them a little bit better, and they get to know us, and ultimately try and go there. And worst case scenario, we could get a draw and bring them back, but ultimately we go there and try and win.
Bit of a nightmare having your Lewis game called off on it, and you've got to go down there on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, that is a downside. There are others. I think obviously winning in a trophy, St Albans at home, so there's a plus that they have to come to us on a Tuesday now, not Miles, but still a bit of travel, and always a bit harder on a Tuesday, isn't it, for football clubs to organise? But yeah, we do things properly. We're fortunate. We're at a club that I've already noticed that they like to do things properly behind the scenes. They look after us in terms of travel and organisation for that. Adam helps with that as well. So I think there won't be many games we have to go away, we won't be prepared, and it's part of non-league football, isn't it? And I think if you're a player or a manager in non-league football, you have to be ready for these challenges, and no point making excuses. We have to go there and put a shift in, whatever day, whether it be a Saturday or a Tuesday, home or away.
I know Wolverhampton Abbey, when they were one of theirs, that the scheduled game was Wroxham. Do you know, in Norfolk? Do you know what I mean? And they went there last Tuesday. Do you know what I mean? It's horrendous having, when you see the fixtures. But look, talking of fixtures, you're going to play Chesham pretty quickly again, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I couldn't work that out either. It's
no.
ridiculous.
You're going to play them twice and get them out of the way before you've even played some of the other teams.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because obviously they've made a cracking start, haven't they? And no disrespect to Cheshunt being who we're playing, but sometimes if you played a team that have made a bad start to the season twice, that might be an advantage, wouldn't it? But you're playing a team that's done really well, and they give us a real good game at their place, and they're up just outside the playoffs, so you've got to play them twice in a quick succession. And if you lose to someone the first time, you hope they're in a bad period or a bad moment, maybe the second time you play them. But yeah, and it's a little bit less analysis, it's a little bit less time taken between obviously getting back from Spennymoor to Cheshunt, because we know a little bit more about each other, so that helps us a little bit in the preparation. But yeah, I think we have to try and win every game of football, and obviously ultimately with some cup runs and cup games, you get a little bit behind on your league campaign. So it's important that we're spending more first, but once that's done, and whatever happens there, we need to focus really well on what's a big game for us at home to Cheshunt.
Mm. Well, someone just sent me a question and asked it, and they actually sent it in to me a couple of days ago, actually, and they've resent it back in. It's one of these sort of silly questions, but it's just somebody wants to know, because they said you two would know. Um, the dressing rooms, are they
Okay.
still all like they were before when Mr. Tampney was there, or has that all been taken down?
Yes, taken down. Yeah, yeah.
Just a
Yeah,
genuine question that somebody
good
just.
question. No, the football club had the Tamplin era, the Glen era, and stuff like that, and that had some positives, but also had some negatives. And I think the football club would say that, and I think with a new board going in, and it's taken a bit of time for them to put their stamp on it. And as Adam said earlier, I think the timing's probably really good, and in terms of us coming in and coming into a football club that really knows where they're going. It's got real good organisation. It's got real good people. It's got a real good facility and infrastructure with the youth teams, the walking football, the women, the whole shebang. And I feel like they're in a really really good place. And ultimately, football teams at this level are judged by the first team. But I think if you look at the football club as a whole, the guys have done a really good job. And I'm not just saying that. I admired that before I come into the job, and it's up to me and Adam to make sure that we put a team that on the pitch that everybody can be proud of, and resembles the hard work that's gone on behind the scenes as well.
Mm. I mean, we talked about it before we came on, and football web pages don't seem to be that interested in it. But the 21st, he's Billericay against Waltham Abbey. I mean, what are you expecting from that game?
Yeah, tough game. Yeah, I think they made a good start to the season. Again, got some good experience within their group, and just signed a couple more added to that. So we'll try and get them watched beforehand. We know a lot of people at that level that might be able to help us out with that. So yeah, we're prepared like it's any other game really, and whether it be FA Cup last round to get in the first round, or Waltham Abbey in the Essex Senior Cup, and our mentality doesn't change. Everything we will do to be trying to win that game of football, and making sure we're prepared for that game of football. And we know that they will come to us and from the division below and want to give a good account of themselves, and it's up to us. We had the same on Saturday when we went down to Broadbridge from Step 4 in the league below, and ultimately they wanted to beat us because we were a Step 3 football team, and we have to overcome that, and we did, and be no different against Waltham Abbey. And I think, like you say, I think you learn a lot about people when you play cup games of football, especially against teams from lower divisions, because you learn about the standards and whether they can keep them, and hopefully our group will do that.
I don't know about you, Adam, as well. I always find that sort of Essex Cup, and maybe even the League Cup. I know the Summer League don't have the League Cup, but when you have a League Cup, or you have the Essex Senior Cup, or whatever county cup you're in, I think the biggest frustration as a fan is when you look at the team sheet and you're going out there on the team sheet, and it's like people you've never heard of before, never seen them play before. They might be under 21s, or they might be players that you've got in on. And it always, especially when I was with Harlow, it was always like that all the time. It would be literally almost 10 changes on the game. And I always used to sit with people, and still now people say to me, but that's the one competition realistically, the League Cup stroke Essex Senior Cup, that teams, especially at Waltham Abbey's level, maybe your level or whatever else, can actually physically win. Very rarely, other than the odd surprise, are they going to win the FA Trophy, or the FA, or the teams that are in Step 5, the FA Vars. And you just concerned, you think to yourself, why do managers not actually go for that competition? I know you want to give, you know, all your players a run out, but surely that's a competition that you can physically win. So why not go for it?
Yeah, it's funny because the teams that I've been involved with for the last 10 years, we've always had that mindset of it is a competition we can win. So even at Chelmsford, when we were in Step 2, yeah, we might have played one or two of the academy lads, but they were always involved with the first team. But that was always a competition that we felt that we could get to the final in. And the same was what Scopesy said earlier. It's a competition that we feel that we can win. So obviously, we're going to play a lot of games in the next few weeks. So obviously that the team might not be exactly what people think, but it is a competition that we want to do well in. So I agree with you, mate. I don't get it either. Obviously the FA Cup is a bonus and you can earn some money out of that. So, but there's only ever so far you're going to go. The trophy, we were fortunate to get to the final and made a few quid all them years ago, but it's not a lot of money in the trophy now, is there? Like these early rounds, they're almost like a bit of a waste of time. But yeah, the Senior Cup is always one that I want to win. It's always annoyed me, the Senior Cup, because deep down, I'm a South United fan. I was a season ticket holder for about 25 years. And in my whole time in Essex football, I've never played them. It's annoying.
Yeah.
I know.
One team I've never played.
I think Arlo, we played them 3 years in a row.
Oh wow!
Just,
Maybe I need to go to Harlow.
yeah.
Yeah. I think we you said about the League Cup, like the Velocity Cup as well. When at Aveley we got to the Velocity Cup final, and the year we got promoted out of Step Three. I think it was, yeah, Step Three. And a lot of people, we got to the final, and I think we played Potter's Bar. They just changed manager, new players coming in and stuff. And a lot of people said to me, "Oh, you're going to rest a few, and you're not going to go for this or go for a win here. And you've got big games coming up in the league and opportunity to get into the playoffs of Step Three." But we went the other way, and I remember Glenn Alzapesi saying to me that he said, "No, we're going to go and win this because we want to be winners." And he said this might give us the boost to get through the rest of the game. That because we're winners and we've won the Velocity Cup to kick on and get into the playoffs. And from that moment onwards, we went with our strongest team. We won 3-0, I think it was, on the night, and we celebrated like we'd won the FA Cup. And it was, and we made sure the players felt like winners on that day. And ultimately, I think that played a big part in us getting through. And it was a final, and then we had to go and play, obviously, Hornchurch in the final. And we'd already had a final, so it was good preparation. So I think if you flip it on its head and you can look at, they can become a bit of an advantage. And if you're not going for league titles and you're out of other cup competitions, then maybe they do come a little bit more important then. But for me, it's important, and obviously you have to be smart and sensible with players and the amount of games they play. But I want to put the most competitive team out we can on the pitch, week in, week out, and whatever competition that may be.
Well, all I'll say, about the 21st is just, don't forget you're in the trophy, you're in the FA Cup. That's more important than the Essex Senior Cup this time around. Yeah. So just play your under 16s or something. Don't worry about it too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully we're still in the FA Cup. I'll take that for definite.
Well, I mean, you've got, going up there. It's going to be an interesting journey at the weekend, and it's going to be as you said earlier on, it's going to be a great trip to get the players up there. I mean, how many fans do you taking any fans on your coach, or do they go up separately, or I mean, what's the plan?
No, they won't. We don't have the supporters on our coach. I don't know what they'll take up there. I mean, the away support's been good this season so far, but they've not had to travel to the other side of the world, have they? So I don't know, 100 maybe.
Yeah,
that'd be good. I think we'd be happy with 100.
I think we took over 100 to Hendersford, didn't we? So there was quite a few there. I think there was more than that, I felt, but someone said it was about 100, but it felt like more, didn't it? Because they were loud and vocal, and everywhere I looked, I could see Billericay scarves and hats and shirts, and so that was really important, I think, and they drove the boys on towards the end of the game. So I think people look at it, non-league fans look at it maybe as a day out, an opportunity to go up early and see a different venue again, see a different ground. And I'd like to think we'll get well supported. And I know they're doing a supporters coach, I think, to see advertised, and tickets were selling fast for that. So I just encourage the supporters to come if they can find the time and the finances to do it. Come and support us and hopefully get us over the line, because I think they'll be important, especially in front of an away crowd in a different venue.
What's the, just say, you beat Spennymoor at the weekend. Who's the team that you would look at you'd want in that first round draw, both of you? Is there a team that you look at and go, well, yeah, I'd love to be playing them either home or away?
It's a catch-22, and I think every manager probably would answer this the same, because you want to play someone you could beat, someone maybe the similar level or a level above that you could maybe get a good result at, because ultimately getting in the second round's a lot better than getting in the first round, and if you're in the second, you're one victory away from third round, which is ultimately a bigger tie as well. So I think there's always that element of playing someone that you maybe can get a result against. Obviously that becomes more challenging the higher up the pyramid that team becomes, and you want a bit of a name, don't you, I suppose? And I'm not going to name names of teams, but disrespect anyone, but you want someone that people go, oh wow, they're someone with a bit of history, a bit of a background story maybe. But ultimately I think the ultimate tie you want is the home tie, isn't it? You want to be at home ideally, so you can get it in front. Whoever you play, you get them in front of your own fans, and they can remember that day. Because, like I say, some might not be able to travel if you are away. So I always remember going to Macclesfield with Concord Rangers away, and we went up on the Saturday. I was a supporter then. Went up on the Saturday, and it was called off when we got there because of rain. I had to go back on the Tuesday night. Drew late equaliser, and then brought them back um, to Concord's home ground, the Aspect Arena. So yeah, so that great achievement, really good for fans. But yeah, ultimately, anybody at home, and I'll probably say as a manager, someone that I can hopefully get a chance of beating to get in that second round, which is what everybody dreams about, really.
So Southend United at home then,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
I'll take that. But they're a good side, so it'd be tough. But yeah, I don't. I haven't really looked at who else is in it and who around it, sort of thing. So and Aveley have got Gateshead, haven't they?
Yeah,
So
I mean, we just said about your game. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
yeah,
Gateshead versus Spennymoor and you versus Aveley probably would have been would make sense, wouldn't it?
yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? But for them, just crazy. Is there replays or is the replay scrap now?
yeah. Replay, yeah, replay Tuesday night, but same as the last round. I think replay
Not for the
scrapped the
first
first
round,
round
no?
proper. Yeah. But yeah, no replay. So yeah, ultimately, we want to go and win the game of football. But 90 minutes, you can go out there and not lose, then you get an opportunity to bring a big football club back to Billericay, which would be, as we did with Hendersford, and ultimately that's going to give us more chance of winning that game.
So what about the league then? Because I mean, the league, just looks at the table and it's all sort of all over the place because of your cup heroics. It's you played less games than everybody else, and it looks worse than probably what it is and stuff like that. And same with when I look at Waltham Abbeys, they're further down than probably they should be. But so what's the plan? Is the plan like automatic promotion? Is it to try and get into the playoffs? I mean, what have you been given as a plan to get to do this year?
Yeah, we haven't really been, yeah, in all honesty, with the
Stay
conversation,
up.
yeah, conversation with the board, the conversation with the board had come in and to get the team performing and get the team playing, and the board want the team to perform on the pitch in front of their supporters, and ultimately, if you perform well as Billericay Football Club with the players we've got, you'll win more games, and if you win more games, you start climbing the league, and we're obviously playing a little bit of catch up because results, hence why we're in the building, results haven't quite been right, and we drew at Cheshunt ourselves, and then we had a really bad day at Brentwood, which was a good day in a way because it highlighted some things that we needed to improve and maybe what the issues have been. But bad day to lose to a local team against us 3-0. So we haven't had a league game since then. But ultimately, we've got. And I always say this when I go in to two teams, I say this to the players that we have to take one game at a time, don't we? And at the moment we're playing cup games and we'll take them as cups games. But when we go into league, we just got to try and play one game at a time. And I think if you look further than that, ultimately everybody wants to get promoted, everyone wants to get in the playoff, everyone wants to get out the league, don't they? That's the aim. No one starts the season not probably wanting that or to try and achieve that. But we have to try and break that down and look at each individual game, and we realise how tough step three is this year and how competitive it is and how many big football clubs are in that division as well, and good football clubs with good history in there and strength and done well over the years, and we're just going to break it down game by game and maybe not look at the bigger picture straight away and just focus on winning games of football and focus on a performance, a performance that Billericay supporters can be proud of and the board can be proud of, and ultimately that will lead to wins, and wins lead make you climb the table, and then you climb the table, and I think you can worry about playoffs and worry about promotion. Not probably now. That's probably not the right time to think about that. It's about us trying to have an impact on the squad and trying to get the team winning games of football. And once you get to that period, January, February, and you see where you are, and things can happen, and you can start climbing the table. But yeah, we want to get promoted, but that would probably be the same message that everybody says in a football club, and everybody in step three with a bit of ambition wants to do that.
I mean, what would you say the surprise sides this year? Would you say Brentwood had a surprise team for you for how they're performing at the minute, and people like Cray Wanderers that weren't necessarily in the playoffs last year, they were down the other end of the table? Are they the two that you look at, and maybe even Folkestone because they struggled last year as well?
Yeah,
Brentwood have got the promotion bounce, haven't they? Probably a little bit like Dan had at Aveley. So they've just carried on that momentum and added, a couple of good players. And you could see that when we played, and they're obviously a team full of confidence. So, are they a surprise early doors? I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, Cray have done really well. Jay Saunders has gone in at Folkestone, big club Folkestone, though, haven't they? Like good financial backing, probably not done as well as they'd hoped probably in the last few years, but they've got a good manager now in Jay, and he looks like he's getting that right. I don't think they've played at home either, are they? Playing at Margate, are they? They're playing at Margate.
yeah,
I think they've got a 3G game done, haven't they?
Yeah,
yeah,
so I mean they've done well, and
yeah. I think they'll be home by the time we play them. I think that's someone was saying to me.
so yeah, it is like Dan said, it is a real tough league with some really good teams. I think Chatham now are full time or hybrid, 2 nights, 2 mornings. So yeah, it's not an easy one. And Dulwich have obviously now started to, after a couple of bad seasons, they're going well. Another huge club, aren't they, Dulwich?
I mean, you look at it as you said earlier on. I mean, you got two sort of really big sides that are in the local area, sort of, or in the Eastmead sort of areas that they do in Welling and Dartford, and they've struggled, haven't they, since they've come down.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Obviously, I was part of a relegation last year, but it is tough to come down, and when you get on that slide, it sometimes is hard to stop, and you've got to take a little bit of stock and reevaluate what you're doing and try and bounce back and realign the club a little bit. And a lot of maybe some teams are having to do that, and ultimately manager changes happen, and not always ideal, and no one really wants to do that, but they happen. And sometimes once the club that can get a bit of stability and consistency within it can then kick on and move forward. And yeah, I think the division's really competitive this year, and I think that's a bit of a byproduct of maybe how competitive Step Two is now, and teams coming down the pyramid. And ultimately, Step Two is probably not half, but quite close to being a full-time division of half the teams in there, and real challenging league, and a lot of money invested in that league. So I think that getting stronger, and you look at some of the teams that are in that ultimately has a kick down to Step Three, and that becomes more challenging as well. So I think you can see that coming down the divisions, and you've got to look at some of the names of the teams that are in there that have been National South teams for a long, long time in Dartford and St Albans, and a lot of others, including us at Billericay, that want to get into that division and want to be competing with them big sides in the National South. So yeah, it's a competitive, and I think non-league football has, since COVID, has probably grown, and some people maybe thought it would go the other way and quieten down a little bit. But I think it's grown in terms of football clubs, putting investments in and trying to grow and move forward, and also in terms of supporters. Like, you look at the crowds that you're getting at these non-league grounds, and even in our division, there's some really big supported football clubs, and there'll be some really big gates this year. So I think it's good. It's good for non-league football. It makes things harder and more challenging, but that's ultimately why you do it, because you want to be challenged and you want to be tested.
I mean, you're talking about tendencies. I mean, Dulwich, as usual, 2,400 average. Chatham, 1,300 average. Ramsgate, 1,100 average. Yourselves, 1,000 average. St Albans, 1,000 average. So you've already got sort of 5 clubs that are over 1,000 constantly, week in, week out. Do you know what I mean? And if you go down, you've got 11 clubs above 500.
Yeah, yeah,
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And you've got, I think, hashtag right at the bottom, 207. So, but I mean, as you say, the tendencies seem to be going up and up and up every single year.
Yeah, no, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Which is it surprising? Obviously, it's tough, isn't it, for people and that now? But I think it's quite reasonable value. And is it like a tenner to get into most grounds at this level, unless it's St Albans? But it's I think there's a £10 is good value, and they want to turn up, and they want to be entertained. And one thing I've really liked about Billericay, and I've been there as a spectator, and it's the experience, the spectator experience. It's nice, it's good. You go in there, there's good food, there's lots of access, there's lots of food bars, so you can get a drink quite comfortably. There's plenty of seats, there's plenty of cover. It's a good day out, and I think you see people go in, and families and groups of guys, and the women as well now, and it is a good day out. And I'm ultimately a non-league football fan, so I look at things like that as much as being a manager. And I think people are getting the experience right, and Dullies do that, don't they, and pack it out week in, week out at home games with lots of people going there and almost socialising while watching the football. So it is good, I think, and hopefully that can continue.
Adam, tell us a little bit about your role and what you're doing at Billericay.
I'm basically doing all the
Kit
jobs
man.
Scopesy doesn't want to do. Yeah, I mean, I've always said that I want to take as much stress off the manager as possible so they can just literally concentrate on the football. But obviously, my main role is players. Obviously, I help with the recruitment, obviously. I throw people at Dan and obviously at the previous clubs players every day. I'm lucky because Dan's my mate as well. We've got an understanding. We don't always agree on it, but it is quickly forgotten. We move on. If I bring in a player that's probably not up to scratch, he's never going to hold it against me. We work really well as a team. That's the whole team as well. We're fortunate at Billericay now that we're all mates. Craig Shipman's come in, who's worked with Dan before. Scott Wagstaff, we've both worked with before. I think that's really important. Danny Clare, goalkeeper coach. I was with him at Chelmsford, and Scopesy knows him. So it's a team effort. But yeah, my main role is really just to take a lot of the aggro away from the manager, so he can just concentrate on the football side on the Saturday, and I'll help him as much as I can.
It's going well. I mean, you can just see that just joined us as well because he's the man that loves Mars bars. How are you, Craig?
I'm good, thanks. How are you all doing? You all right?
Hello, mate.
Craig.
He's dressed up for us, look.
So tell us a little bit, Craig, about the Mars bar because it was quite funny. I mean, I did read it, and it seemed to be quite a funny incident.
Yeah, so we were away at Chester Saturday, and it's quite a spicy affair to be honest, right from the off. So we were getting lots of abuse right from the very start from some wound up fans directly behind the dugout and what have you, and we were called all sorts of Welsh names as you can imagine. Lots of sheep mentioned and whatnot, which is strange because their ground is in Wales, so I don't quite understand that. But anyway, we were getting plenty of abuse, and then we've scored to equalise in the 91st minute, whatever it might have been. So obviously we've given a little bit back then, which you would because we suffered it for 90 minutes. I mean, nothing over the top, nothing just celebrated, and then they've started throwing a few things. There's a little scuffle on the pitch, and the net broke out, and it just got a bit heated. So, yeah, one of them has thrown a Mars bar at us, half-eaten Mars bar. And I mean, I think they probably got 150 these days in a Mars bar for size Mars bar. So it just seemed a bit of a waste. So I just picked it up and ate the half the Mars bar and give them a big thumbs up, which which didn't go down that well with them either. To be fair, probably warmed them up a bit more than planned. But like I said, it's probably there's a good 75 pence worth left of that Mars bar, and I didn't like to waste it. So yeah, that's all it was. And then I think it was the manager's mother comment on Facebook about it, and he's just gone a bit mad, to be honest. So yeah, that's all it was.
Is it still John Owen that managing them?
No,
they're Radcliffe, aren't they?
Yeah.
Radcliffe,
So Chester we played. Yeah, Chester we played. Yeah. So yeah, that's all. But I've had no contact from Mars with a sponsorship or anything. I thought I might have had a little. Yeah.
We can have it on your hoodie.
Yeah. Someone's done a mock-up of Mars written across our league shirt already. So yeah, it didn't take long.
Do you think, Craig, that I've had it before as well? Like, you think sometimes they plant these people behind the dugout? Like,
honestly, right?
They're put there. They're an employee of the club, maybe, and they're paid to stand there and abuse you.
It's a strange, right?
I've had it a few times.
Yeah, we get all the Welsh names and all the things, and it's like this part of the course you're expecting it, and it's you take it as banter. Sometimes you can overstep the mark, and like I said, when they throw in things, overstep a little bit. But there's a guy came down from the stand when it all kicked off, and don't get wrong, we've scored and equalised, and we've turned to the crowd in and he given a bit back, but it was, you know what I mean, it was no more than that, and they obviously take real offence to that when they've given you everything for 90 minutes. I mean, and they weren't youngsters; these are grown men who were sitting there. And a guy came down and went on to their head of security, head steward, and said, like, go speak to the fourth official and tell them that their staff have instigated all that and they brought all that on. And And she went and told the fourth official, and I was like, that's not your job. You should be stopping them from throwing things at us, not
Yeah,
reporting that we've celebrated in front of the. And to be fair, she came on later on and apologized. Said, no, actually, you're right. We
yeah,
did do it, but yeah, I don't know. It was it was all a bit strange. Like he knew the head of security really well, and I was like, go and tell her, and she just went off straight away. And I was thinking, do they work for the club or something? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it was a strange one, to be honest.
No, it's hard, isn't it? You have to keep your mouth shut, don't you? But football's an emotional game, isn't it?
It,
And we all
it is
know
a look,
you want to
not
win, don't you? So what can you do when you
yeah,
score
and
in
a
the
few
90th
years
minute?
ago,
There's
to be
no better
honest,
feeling.
I probably would have thrown the Mars bar back and hit someone with it.
Yeah,
And I thought so it was better that I hit it and give it a little bit rather than
yeah,
throw the Mars bar
yeah.
back and get in more trouble. But as you
Did it
said,
well,
it's
yeah.
emotions, and we'll all laugh about it afterwards and realize that we've all been a bit stupid probably, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. Yeah.
What was the thoughts though? After sort of like two defeats, and then all of a sudden you going 2-0 down. Do you know what I mean? Was it
To
a
be
lot?
honest, probably for most games across the country the weekend, the weather was just horrendous with the wind, and we were against the wind first half. We conceded after 5 minutes, like you say, on the back of two defeats, two disappointing defeats. So you do start thinking straight, oh, because this could be a long afternoon. We need to be careful. But nah, the boys did again. We went 2-0 down, and we were saying, that's okay. We're okay with this because that wind behind us, second half, we will play, we will get some balls in the box, and that's not a strong point, to be honest. Lumping balls into the box, we're small football inside, but we'll have that momentum, and we were okay with that. Um, and then we conceded a penalty right on half time. And you're thinking, oh no, 3-0. Just psychologically, 3-0 is a big score. And our keeper Cogs has made a brilliant save, which is a huge turning point in that game because we've gone in 2-0 down thinking we can still win this game. At 3-0, thinking the best we're hoping for is a draw if we can really push for it. And if they score on the breakaway, it's over. So it was a pivotal moment, the penalty save, and then yeah, we scored, and I think it was the 91st. But afterwards, you delight. It feels like a win, doesn't it? Their managers throwing things and slamming doors and what have you because they've conceded so late, and we feel like we've won the game.
Mm.
And we did feel it should have been a little bit more added time. And you are thinking if that game goes on another 5 minutes, I think we're going to get a winner. But look, after two defeats, to go away to a club like Chester and be 2-0 down at half time, like you say, and get a draw, it was it was a good feeling after, to be fair.
Well, these lads could do you a favour. Maybe if you swap numbers after the show's finished tonight, because of course they've got Spennymoor at the weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we were hoping he was going to help us, but they don't play until next week, do they?
Yeah, it's the week after we're there. Yeah, it's the week after we're there. So yeah.
But you have got your wish though.
What's
Last
that?
time you spoke, there was a wish that you wanted.
Oh, South Shields.
And South Shields, yes, and
Yeah,
that's
so
got to come down to you on a Tuesday.
yeah, South Shields have to travel down to us on a Tuesday, but look, they're full time, and so it's not as it'd been a lot worse for us having to go up there on a Tuesday when
Yeah, yeah.
our boys are trying to get off work and got to go back to work. Well, it'd have been late for work the following morning, I think, if we were coming back from South Shields. So yeah, look, it's still tough, like doing that trip on a Tuesday. I think it's, as we said in the last show, I just think the league can look at that and go, right, there's a potential because it's the cup weekend. It could be a replay. Can we move that fixture when there's no likelihood of the amount that replayed on a Tuesday night, maybe, and use a bit of sense that way, but they haven't. So just glad that it's not us travelling there on a Tuesday night. So yeah, yeah.
But Tom's goal was a cracker.
Yeah, he does score worldies, to be fair to the boy. We had a conversation about getting him a bit further forward and closer to the goal because he does strike the ball so well. But yeah, came off, like I said, came off a long throw, and we're not renowned for lumping balls in the box and doing that. That's not how we play. We're a small team, and we rely on the intricate passing and football. So yeah, it was very pleasing to score from the seconds off a long throw. But yeah, it's a great strike. As soon as he leaves his foot, it's flying in. But he's capable of that. He is capable, and he scored many. His catalogue would be back catalogue would be very good if you look at his goals and his highlights. To be fair to the boy.
And then, of course, Cole Jarvis getting that equaliser. I mean, it must have felt like a winner, really.
Yeah, it did. Like I said, it was you delighted the elation of scoring, the relief and everything that comes with that. But the thought then turns to, right, can we win this game now? Which is like I said, there was a scuffle in the net because our boys were trying to get the ball back. They're trying to keep the ball because they're hanging on, and it's one of them. But we half time, would you take a point? Yeah, absolutely, you take a point there. So, we can't be greedy. We have to, we're going to Chester and 2-0 down and all those, having not won in the last two games and had a hiding 2 games back.
Mm.
It's a big point for us, that.
Yeah.
But you look at that, and I don't know if the guys look at it, but when you look at that, and you see Telford, Darlington, Chester, Worksop, Macclesfield, Kings Lynn, Hereford, and they're all below you.
Yeah, it's amazing, from where we've come from, having just gone up into that league, we no idea how it was going to be in the quality of it, but we are confident in our players and what we've got there, that we can compete. I'm not saying we're going to be winning leagues but we can compete, and on our day, I think we can beat anybody in this league. But we've had a couple of off days when we've had a couple of hidings as well, so we are aware of that. That it's not, your standards have to be really high at this level, and we know that, and we are still learning every week with it. And we spoke to players about concentration levels, and sometimes they think it's just phrases you're throwing out there, but genuinely we've had a couple of slip ups in last minutes in games or at certain moments, and before you know it, you've conceded a goal and the game's done. So that is something that there's been a big learning curve for them. Is you can't switch off. You have to be, it's as mentally tiring as it is physically tiring at this level, to be fair.
I mean, guys, you've both been in step two yourself as well. I mean, what is the difference between sort of, from where Craig's boys at Merthyr have come out of, step three in the Southern League going into step two? I mean, how big of a jump is that for, and let's be honest, Merthyr have gotten, probably 90% of the 95% of the same team that was at step three. I mean, how difficult is it? Is it a real big jump?
Yeah, I think there is a difference. I do, especially with full-time teams within the division as well. I think there is a difference, and no disrespect to step three, but if you're doing well at the top of step three and getting promoted, there probably is some easier games within that division, and the teams at the bottom that are struggling, so you get results. I think when you jump up to step two, I don't think there's an easy game. There's not anybody can beat anybody. Everybody's got more access to games, more highlights, more knowledge. They know more people, and I think that's the biggest challenge. There's no easy game, and you could go 3-4 games playing really good teams on good form and lose 3 or 4 games. And I often believe it's about bouncing back, as you said, and you lost a couple of games, and then just bouncing back a little bit and getting a point at Chester is massive. And people, it's only a point, 1 point in 3 games. It's not. It's about stopping that defeats and then getting yourself back on the ladder again. And I think it's about never too high, never too low. A lot of people say it, but you have to really live it at step two level, because you can get in a rut as a team and as a manager, and everything feels really, really bad. And ultimately, it's trying to get out of that is tough. And we had that last year and season before. Game by game, we might lose 2, but then bounce back with a draw and then a win, and we're back on it again. It's just staying in and around it. And the division's always quite tight, isn't it, from top to bottom in terms of points, and a couple of wins, a win and a draw can bump you up a couple of places. And I think I think that's it. That's the biggest difference. Like, every game will be a really tough game and a big challenge, especially if you're having to travel as well. And that's where the concentration comes in, mentally and physically, as you said.
I think the last 2 or 3 years as well, it's amazing how many teams are full time. Like, I think the North had probably more teams than we did in the South, but I think that's slowly changing again. I think the South this year has got 9 or 10. So, everyone was saying the South's probably the toughest year it's ever been because of those teams. But I don't know, if you look at that North, there's some massive football clubs in it. Like, do you remember when we used to play the cup games against the teams in the North, Dan? They were all big, physical, horrible, weren't they?
Yeah, still the same.
Yeah, it's just totally different. They're proper battles. But again, step two, there's not one easy game, is there? Like, I think these teams that come up, I think they probably take it a bit lightly at the start. I've spoken to a few managers when they come up last year, and they said, like, we tried to be loyal to the group, but I think they quickly changed that after the first 2 months, because they realised that the level difference is massive now.
Well, I know Enfield Town, it was in Chelsea League last year. I think that was what they did there as well. They kept the same sort of group, and then after a while, it was like, Gavin,
one of the teams that spoke to me, actually.
Gavin is like, whoa, hang on a minute. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, there's player after player after player coming in almost all the way through until, deadline day.
Yeah, they did well in the end, didn't they, to stay up? But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at more step three now because I only moved 3 weeks ago, but I can't remember who come up this year, but Paul Horsham on it. But
Yeah.
I also think as well, though, like these teams coming up now, and just the whole football pyramid, the money in the game now is bloody ridiculous. Like I don't know what's happened. Like the game's gone really, isn't it, financially? You know what some of these players are earning, and you know what they're earning at step three. I mean, I remember when Dan and I were at Concord, and we were quite fortunate that we built a team from step 3 and 4, and people weren't that money driven when we were doing that. What was 5 years ago, Dan? 6 years ago? I think that's slowly changed again now. I think everyone loves a pound note. So yeah, it's yeah, I'm not sure I'd want to be in that North Division. It looks absolutely brutal. But you beat Macclesfield as well, didn't you? Away as well.
Yeah, we beat them 3-1. Yeah, we beat them 3-1, and probably so far our best performance of the season, best for a few years, to be fair. But again, like the travelling for that, I got home 4 o'clock in the morning the next morning after that one. Like, just, yes,
yeah.
it was
I tell you what,
brutal.
that's helped in the south this year.
Yeah,
because Weymouth got relegated, Truro got promoted. So your two of your biggest hitters were gone. So actually, if you look at the south now, the travel's pretty good, really.
Yeah. Please don't rub it in, please. Yeah.
Don't affect me now. We've dropped down a level. We had a half hour.
Torquay's the worst one now, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what though? You know, when you go to those games, it's not a problem because you've got 2,500, 3,000 people in the stadium. You know, they're the games you want to be involved with, right? So when you're, you know, like Chester and people like Macclesfield, when you go, all right, you might have to go for miles, but when you're playing in those stadiums and you know in front of that crowd, it don't really bother you. When you're going to Truro and it's 8 hours and there's 500 people there, it's a tough ask.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting season. But listen, the time's run away from us. I really do appreciate you, Adam, coming on and Dan coming on. Wish you all the very, very best, except for the 21st. But the rest of the season, happy days. I hope you turn over spending more at the weekend as well. That'd be fantastic to see you guys in the first round of the FA Cup. And of course, as usual, Craig, nice weekend off this weekend, eh, mate?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's. Don't get me wrong. I'd rather be playing in the FA Cup, obviously, but yeah, I'll take a nice weekend off. It's well. I think
But
November.
you haven't told your missus you ain't got a game.
No, I've kept that quiet. Yeah. I think I've said we'd await the South Shields this weekend. It's an overnight stay as well. I think I'm out all weekend. But yeah, I think November we've got 8 games scheduled in November. So I'll enjoy this weekend off before the madness starts again.
Well, massive thank you to the guys. Massive thank you for everybody for watching. We will see you next week. And until then, good night.
Top man, mate. Thank you.
Thank you.